college basketball didn't just give us results this week. It gave us receipts. Purdue lost a game that raised real questions about Matt Painter in February. Arizona is playing sloppy, shooting like garbage, and still bullying people by 25. Iowa State looked like a Final Four team again. Florida is quietly terrifying. And Michigan State, this is a fraud investigation in progress. And tonight, we're not doing this alone. We've got the guys from Double D Sports in the building because this slate is too loud, too messy, and too controversial for one bench to handle. Brad, tell me who made you lose faith this week.
Well, I'll start right here. If your team needed the free throw line, a miracle whistle, or a perfect shooting night just to survive, I don't believe you. This week exposed who can win ugly, who folds the second things go sideways, and who's still living off preseason hype. Wonder who that is. We've got rivalry games, fight alerts, and Saturday matchups that are absolutely going to flip narratives. And with Double D here, nobody's getting protected. Let's talk about who's real and who's been lying to us. And speaking of that, let's go ahead and get it kicked off and talk about this Purdue at UCLA game. UCLA winning 69-67 in a brutal win here, or a brutal loss for Purdue.
Tell us which side you were on, bro.
Yeah. I'm like Double D kick this one off because I got some thoughts on this one too, but I'm a rambler, so I'll give it to Dalton and Derek here, see what they think.
Yeah, I can go first.
Go ahead.
Yeah, to me, this game was kind of been cooking in the pot for a while, in my opinion. Purdue's been playing with their food, getting too close to the fire for one too many games, and it was kind of inevitable that this was going to happen. If you would ask me if it wasn't going to be at UCLA, it would have been home against Illinois coming up. Now that kind of flips the narrative on that game a little bit for me, but the few positives from that UCLA game was TKR looked like he's on his way back after a long stretch of not being very good. 10.7 rebounds, 5 assists, no turnovers, kind of learning that new role he's in. And then, the emergence of CJ Cox here lately has been huge for Purdue. And I think once we get Braden and TKR back and fully healthy, that's going to be a big, big piece of the puzzle as Purdue tries to, hunt down the elusive national title. But other than that, Lawyer continues to shoot like crap. That's got to change at some point or another. And just thought Smith probably played his worst game of the year. And when that happens on this team, Purdue's just not going to be very, very good.
Yeah, I'll say one thing, a number. It's 7 for 27. Does that ring a bell to anybody?
Yeah.
You lose a game by 2 points, you miss 23 pointers. So that's the quickest thing that sticks out to me. And there was a lot to this game. I mean, UCLA played out of their minds, like people do against Purdue, and that's just what happened on to Illinois.
Yeah, my thought is Purdue's going to get the biggest swing whenever they go on the road. This is UCLA playing out of their minds to what Dalton said a little bit ago. Donovan Dent went off. He was the Donovan Dent that everybody thought he was going to be. Just so happened to be against Purdue. Purdue's shooting woes continued. Lawyer, I hate to say it right now, is effectively a cone out there. I'd like to see some big game Fletch here tomorrow against Illinois. Definitely need it. But Trey Kaufman rebound came back, and that was a promising sign. I felt like Braden Smith turned it on late, but it was almost too little too late. But what was really disappointing about this game is this is the game that we've won all year, where we've had a 2-point lead, then stretched it out to 6 with a couple minutes left and just stepped on the throat a little bit, and kind of stayed in that 6 to 8 range. We gave up an 8-0 run, and to me, this was legs. You saw Oscar Clough, Dalton, your boy, he kind of went under on that Bilodeau screen and just left him wide open. Jake, I think he had a good comment there. That's that was a moment where Benter should have been in the game. If we're talking about a defensive possession down 1, I think he's the guy you want on Bilodeau there, not Clough. But am I worried? No, this is a West Coast trip. West Coast trips are hard on the legs. I'm more worried about tomorrow. Illinois is a big contest, even with Boswell out right now hurt. But it's just going to be interesting to see how Purdue's legs are coming back from the West Coast against a top 15 team in Illinois. So, I'd like to see them clean some things up, but it's got to start with the shooting. This is Iowa State all over again. It's just the result was a lot closer.
Yeah, I mean, the few things I saw easily is Lawyer right now in the last couple of games without his jump shot. His defense isn't great, so he's kind of useless out there right now if he's not hitting shots, which can come back easily because he's had stretches all 4 of his years where he shoots -5 from 3 and then it goes on a crazy 70% run. So I mean, there's a lot of hope there, but just right now he's not doing anything to help you. Clough being out there, he was getting abused on that high pick and roll all night because he's not as athletic And that's where Benter, I think, would have made a difference there, especially towards the end. And that's on Painter. Like you've got to be able to see that, especially the last possession. If you don't want to run that the whole game, there's no reason, knowing they're going to run that pick and roll because it was obvious that that was working all night. That was what they're going to run. There's no reason to have him out there because his rebounding's not going to help you when he's out at the 3-point arc. Stung a bit, especially the nail of the three to put the game away. There's nothing here truly traumatic that I see for Purdue. Braden Smith, the injury must be keeping him down a little bit because of the last 3 or 4 games he's had up close to the amount of turnovers he's had assists my last few. And so he's getting a little sloppy, and I don't know if that's the injury or defenses are making an adjustment on how they're playing. I don't know, but that's the only worrying sign that I see for Purdue right now.
My main thing for this game is that if this doesn't make Mick Cronin happy,
It didn't.
nothing can and nothing will. But just like we said before, I don't think he likes this team. I don't think this team likes him. But when you beat Purdue with the kind of the team that they have and still find a way to be a negative Nancy, no offense to any Nancys out there, but God, just a negative guy.
Yeah, he is. I mean,
He's a
pretty
player.
butthurt about coaching UCLA, and that used to be a premier job. And Mick Cronin makes it seem like me going to work every day right now. So it's just miserable.
I kind of love it. He reminds me of my dad. Like,
Yeah.
he's never happy with anything.
There's always something wrong.
His press conference after he had more complaints.
Oh, he hated it.
That's
He had more
absolutely crazy.
positive things to say about Purdue than he did his own team.
Yes.
Anyway,
From
moving
Wilson.
on.
Yeah.
I don't want to relive any more hurt.
Thanks.
Let's tackle the UCF at Iowa State. Iowa State winning 87-57.
Yeah, this to me, this was the Iowa State team that beat Purdue. Like they had 2 like absolute turds of games back to back where everybody started asking questions about Iowa State, and they just put the country back on notice that they are a Final Four contender team. Lipsy didn't score, but he was effective. Jefferson was just an absolute beast. I mean, he's a National Player of the Year candidate for a reason. Loved what I saw out of Iowa State. Glad to see that they're back. Like, again, it's like a resume bolster. If they continue to perform, it makes that loss look a little bit better on Purdue's resume. So selfishly, I'm rooting for them a little bit. But yeah, I thought they came in, handled business against a really talented UCF team. No complaints from me on this performance at all.
Yeah, I was a big fan. I am a big fan of Iowa State. I think they play very similar style as far as their personnel to Purdue. I think that you're seeing this crazy variance in college basketball now where on any given night, a great team can lose by 20 or win by 20. With the portal and just how stacked some of these teams are and the athleticism and the age of some of these teams, the variance is just drastic. But in this game, just Josh Jefferson gets a triple-double with no turnovers. Just absolutely incredible. I think that Milan Momcimovic, or however you pronounce his name, is really the key to this team. A lot of people are going to talk about other guys, but he's shooting 54% from 3 on 143 point attempts, which is insane volume. He's 6'8", 6'9". He can shoot over people. He can shoot crazy shots. He's just an incredible player. And I think for them, he is their ceiling raiser and the reason that they can go to a Final Four and potentially win a national championship. So I'm happy to see him back on track. I think the world is better when Iowa State is good at basketball. I don't know why, just kind of a gut feeling, but UCF to me just is not a very good basketball team. And I think they're going to probably pick a couple teams off at home that they shouldn't beat, but just didn't look up to the challenge in this game.
Yeah, I'll ask you guys a question. Who will beat Iowa State when Jefferson and Momcimovic have offensive ratings of over 160?
Nobody.
That's very, very, very few teams have the personnel to do that.
Anybody in America. Yeah, that's my question, is like these guys are so efficient and they played the tightest defense of all time without fouling. So they had 4 less fouls than UCF in this game, and it's just incredible to me. You know, they had 13 steals, 13 fouls. That's a wild statistic right there. So a steal for every foul in this game. Like, I just don't know how you compete with that when they play at that level, but they also are like everyone else and they have letdowns. So depending on which team you get is, you're either going to get your ass handed to you or you might have a shot.
Yeah, Jefferson was on one. That was just truly impressive. I mean, yeah, the triple-double, but then even defensively, we had 4 steals on a block. Like, the guy was everywhere. I still think UCF can't get shots off in practice around him. He was just everywhere that night. It was incredible to watch. Like, I don't know, Lipsy, like, what was most impressive to me is Lipsy was not great offensively. Didn't need, like, I think he had 5 points, but I mean, was everywhere defensively. He had 5 steals. Was just dogging the point guards of the UCF. This Iowa State team looked like the title contender that they were, like, then the one that went to Purdue and won by 30 or whatever it was. But it worries me that you saw 2 games back to back on the road as bad as they were. So, like, I don't totally understand it, because I mean, you're entitled to bad games, but having them back on the road, I want to see them take this game on the road again before I start being a full believer in Iowa State.
Yeah, and on we just talked about Purdue, and we'll talk about Iowa State in the same breath here. Both these teams, a couple losses on the year, but I'm not ringing alarm bells on neither one of these teams. They're both absolutely fantastic. They both have the tools that you need to win in March. And again, like, if you're losing a few games here and there in January, I'd rather be then than late February or early March when you're starting to get into that tournament. So, these are good times to start figuring some hard lessons out. That way you're not learning them late in February like Matty February used to do and things like that. So, Iowa State, no panic here. I think this is a big win.
Did Matty February, was that like a real thing? Is that what people would run with?
So, yeah, there was a contingent of us from West Lafayette that used to say that, like, we would have really good stretches in December, January, and then most of February would be good. And then late February, early March, we would start looking a little rough. And then next thing you know, 13, 12, 11, 15, 16, what do we decide if we haven't been beat by a 14 yet? Is that what it is? That somebody did a pick?
We're not going there right now, Sam. We can't go
That's
there.
all right. Like when you're at the ripe age of 42 and you've lived all this for as long as I have, you get used to it, become numb to it. In fact, after Bilodeau hit that 3 at the end of the game, my wife goes, "You all right?" And I was like, "Nah, I chose this."
Yeah, I cannot be hurt anymore.
And no, it's right. Teflon. Brad, do you have any comments on the Iowa State game? Or are you ready to move on to Texas Tech here?
No, I'm excited about this Texas Tech game. Previewing that a little bit. Let's move on to that one. So, number 12, Texas Tech at Baylor. Texas Tech winning 92-73. Atwell 7 from 10, or 7 for 10 from 3 is massive. I mean, I don't know how they're going to be beatable when he's playing like that. And then you got the walking double-double and JT Toppin. Just a stud, even though he didn't have a double-double. Yeah, this is the one rare game where he didn't achieve that. But I'm sure there's probably a few people that lost some money on that bet. I was listening to that on the radio on the way home just a moment ago talking about that. But Atwell scoring like he did just makes them very tough to beat.
Yeah.
Go ahead, guys.
Oh, yeah. Texas Tech, I mean, for me, and he hit on it, Atwell shoots 7 of 10 from 3 with a 207 offensive rating. You're not going to beat Texas Tech if that happens. They have too many other weapons with Anderson and Toppin. Lujan Watts. We watched Purdue 30-piece this team, and those guys all did not play well. Now, when they do play well, they remind me of like last year's Purdue team at their peak. They have an exceptional guard, a really good forward, and a three-point specialist that when they are all clicking on the same cylinder, which they do quite often, they're tough to beat. And that's why they've worked their way all the way back up and, are basically a top 10 team at this point. And when they play like this, when their stars show up, they're as good as anybody in the country. And that's what's going to really make them a dangerous, like 3, 4, 5 seed in March is they're really a 1 seed at their peak.
Mm-hmm.
They just are going to lose enough games in the interim because one guy doesn't show up or they don't rebound worth of crap that, they're going to fall on that seed line, but they're a dangerous team in March. And even though Purdue 30-pieced them, I still really would prefer to see him somewhere else.
Yeah, I don't want to write anything home about this Texas Tech team off of this Baylor win. I mean, Baylor's 1-6 in quad 1. They're just god awful. Net 53. I don't know. Most people don't like the net, but I really appreciate it. Texas Tech plays 6 guys. Don't have a lot of depth. As we all know, when you get down and gritty in February and March and you're banging it out in the Big 12, people are going to get tired and lose legs. We've seen it with our own, Braden Fletcher just had nothing left to give. And when you're a 3-man team like they are, makes it tough. Tyree Bryan had a 237 offensive rating. I mean, that's unreal.
Essentially perfect.
Right? yeah, I mean, that's like a perfect game. But I mean, yeah, 6 guys, I hope the best for him. I really enjoy watching Toppin play. Just, I think the kid is so talented, and I don't think he'll be around the NCAA for long. So just trying to enjoy the games I get to watch him.
Yeah, I wish he would learn how to shoot a free throw, but he's got that TKR in him where he just does
Like
everything else right.
Day Morrow's the same way. I watched a Day Morrow shoot free throws. I'm like, what are you doing?
It's like, yeah, for as good as he is everywhere else.
Yeah.
So Texas Tech beating Baylor doesn't impress me. What Texas Tech has done over the course of the last 3 or 4 games has really impressed me. It's like, so they came off that heartbreaker against Houston, and then just rattled off 4 straight against a pretty decent Colorado team, a Utah team that's somewhat dangerous, BYU, who's absolutely fantastic, and now this Baylor team that, everybody was freaking out because they had an NBA player, myself included, on their team, and he's absolutely done nothing. But they're handling business, and that's what matters here. They've got Houston tomorrow, so another huge opportunity for them to do some resume bolstering. And again, here I am, a Purdue fan, going to plug Purdue every chance I get and say, well, I'd love to see Texas Tech win that. That makes that Purdue resume look a lot better, especially come March, where we're going to be fighting for, a 2 seed and possibly even a 1 line. So I'm definitely glad to see Texas Tech handle this one. Toppin's a beast. Anderson Toppin combo right now is one of the best duos in sports. I would love to have it been Smith and TKR, but it's not. It's Anderson and Toppin, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, and it has to be. We don't have to talk about this for forever, but the is it Nnaji? Is that how you say it?
Najee. Yeah, I think
Najee?
Najee. Yeah, Najee.
How do you have to feel? Like, how do you have to feel about yourself right now that you kind of came down a level? You did come down a level, and you're putting up 2 minutes, 0 points. I mean, he didn't do anything. He had 1 steal that just fell in his lap, essentially. So that's got to be a very embarrassing feeling in the locker room.
Well, I don't know, man. It'd be like that Brett Favre holding a clipboard on the sidelines kind of deal. I imagine he's getting a pretty decent paycheck doing this. So it's just like, yeah, all right, I'll come in and half-ass it for D1 basketball, get made look a full of, and move on.
The problem with him is probably the psyche side of it. He will forever be known as the guy who broke the seal on NBA players coming to playing back in college because, Alabama just got that kid that was playing in the G League. And this is going to become until it gets done through government or through whatever legislative branch the NCAA has, it's only going to get more and more and more extreme until it gets stopped. That's just how everything in sports works. And we'll see how that all shakes out. This guy, unfortunately, was the scapegoat. He's not doing anything productive, but there will be a guy that comes back from the NBA or the G League and starts immediately putting up 25 points a game, and people are going to lose their mind over.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a hater of this whole thing. My prayer is that everyone that comes down does nothing.
Yeah.
That they get shown that there's a reason they're in the G League and that the college level of competition holds up, and they find out that, hey, they're chasing a bag, obviously. There's more money in college than the G League. But I hope they get exposed. Like, I hate to see this right now, and I just think it's destroying the sport I love. That's my favorite thing is kids coming out of high school.
Yes.
So you get a hot shot senior coming out of Mount Vernon. I'm not going to say any names, but that kid might go to Grace College in Indiana now. Like, we're talking 4-star kids going to NAIA schools because these doofuses want to come back from the G League and, wreck my favorite sport. I don't know. That's my whole take on it.
From my cold dead hands.
Yeah, exactly. So moving on here to, I would say probably the hottest or one of the hottest teams in the country right now, and that's Florida. LSU at Florida. Florida wins 70-61.
Yeah. Again, I go back to a couple weeks ago. I said Florida was uninteresting, and this is why podcasting equipment should be more expensive. Just let doofuses like me get up on here and talk about really good teams being bad at basketball because I'm an idiot. They have rattled 9 out of the last 10. They're absolutely fantastic. They look fantastic. They're playing really well. This is not a team you want to see in March.
Yeah. If you had back-to-back speakers using the word doofus, take a drink. Florida has been went from a team who was unimpressive, and then you went back and looked and you go, oh, they've only lost to top 10 teams, to a team that looks like a legitimate contender. 5 straight wins against top 65 teams. They've won 9 of 10, like Sam mentioned. Just got to watch out for this team, because if those guards figure it out, Xavion Lee and the other dude from wherever, Boogie Flan, if they figure it out, they're going to be an extremely dangerous team, because they're top 11 offense, top 11 defense. They rebound 44% of their missed shots, which is they're number 1 in the country in offensive rebounding. And with the guards figuring out, and then you have Chinyelu down there who just rebounds everything in front of him. I don't know what you do with this team if their guard play is elite, which it wasn't, for the first 10 games. But since then, it's been good enough. And we'll see how they hold up throughout the SEC season. But I expect this to end up being a, top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament, a team you really probably don't want to see.
Absolutely.
Florida scares me, man. Just the size and the athleticism. And I think it was an episode with you, Sam, where I talked about the curse of Boogie Fland.
Yeah.
I truly believe in the curse of the Boogie Fland, but he's coming alive right now. I just don't know how Xavier Lee holds up against stiffer competition. Like, I know that they've won 9 out of 10, but you're talking George Washington, Colgate, Dartmouth. Like, coming into the SEC season's a little different. And yeah, they are balling out right now, but how long does it last? I just think Boogie's one of those streaky guys. I think Xavier Lee might be in over his head, but I've had really dumb takes before as well, so you can ask Derek
Facts.
about that. Yeah. Thank you, Derek.
You're welcome. I got your back.
Yeah, I think Xavier Lee has the potential of being. I think he's an electric guy, but I just don't know that he is going to be that much of a contributor. I mean, but then again, he could go off and be one of those guys that carries you through the tournament. I would not doubt that.
Guard play wins tournament games, man.
Damn straight. Absolutely 100% facts.
All right, then we've got Cincinnati at Arizona. Arizona continues to do Arizona things, which is win handily. Arizona winning 70-51.
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick because I don't have a ton on this. I didn't watch this game specifically, but I did look, and they won quarter 4, 27-9. KenPom breaks it down by quarters. So when they needed to, they just completely stepped on their neck and said, okay, we're done. This is over. This isn't even the same. We shouldn't be on the same court right now. They are second to last in the country in percentage of shots from the 3-point arc. To do what they do and just beat everybody by 20 points, they're who Michigan thought they were, at least this far. And I'm also a hater of Michigan, known hater, so I apologize. But to me, that's who they are. I'm watching Michigan up 3 against Ohio State at home at halftime. This team is just extremely good. They are disciplined. They don't shoot bad shots. They have a bad shooting night from 3 like they did in this game, and it's 3 for 13. How much does that hurt you? Purdue just missed 20 against UCLA. I wish we would have gone 3 for 13. We would have won that game going away. I love what they do. I love who they are, and they have an exceptional freshman in coach.
Yeah, Arizona they're in my nightmare material. Like, I don't want them anywhere near Purdue in the tournament until the final game. Like, I hope they're on the far side of another bracket. Like, this team terrifies me. Koa Pete, he should be like, I know everyone talks about a Cuff and Darren Peterson and the guy from BYU, Devonta.
Amen.
But like Koa Pete, if you want a real team changer player that's gonna grow with your organization as a smart, well-rounded kid, then that's your guy. Like, I think this Arizona team has what it takes, and this win was just another proving of that. Cincinnati's tough. They smacked Iowa State, so that team has it in them too. It's like, in Arizona just did what they did to them.
Yeah, so this Arizona team, here's where I'm going to disagree with you, Dalton. If Purdue drew Arizona, I'd actually kind of like it personally, because they don't take a lot of threes, and I feel like that's something that just has been Purdue's Achilles heel for so many years. I go back to a few years ago, North Texas shot like 57 of them, and it was ultimately what kind of brought us down in that game. But you see UCLA wins the game on a 3-pointer. Alabama, the only reason they were in their game against us was they shot 75 threes. And a team like Arizona is they're going to battle in the paint in that 15-foot range, which is exactly where Purdue likes to keep teams, like that 7-foot and out. So I think that would be a really good matchup. I still to me, it's like whose guards are playing the best in this particular case. That is going to come down to it. But that's a hypothetical that we're not even remotely close to yet. But this Arizona team, I mean, they're just absolutely flexing on teams. They, like, even when they look bad, they're still good. They're beating teams by 20. They're in a really tough conference, and Cincinnati is not exactly the meat of that conference. So I still think that, when they start drawing some of these bigger games, then we'll maybe see them get exposed a little bit. But I mean, if it hasn't happened yet, I'm not sure if it's gonna. So definitely, deserve to be the number one team in the country right now, far and away.
So for our next game is a team that I'm getting very sick of this streak that's happening, but is Texas at Kentucky. Kentucky winning 85-80, 4 straight wins. So guys, I'm a Tennessee fan through and through. And this is a tough one for me to swallow, but Kentucky's doing something right. I don't think they're completely fixed. I don't think they're completely somebody you should necessarily be threatened by, but they're doing something. Something's happening, and I don't like it.
Yeah, to me, Kentucky to me is like the Temu version of Alabama. Like, they get down these big games because they just don't have any continuity throughout their team. They just go and run and gun and fire shots up, and then they get on desperation mode and they go crazy, and the athleticism and pure talent shows up, and they come back and beat these teams. It's happened three of the last 4 games. I'm just not convinced this is a good basketball team. They have the Purdue curse of playing them in an exhibition. That's never bode well for anybody. And then, to me, these last few games have just shown me more about who they are as in a negative light than it has in a positive light. Coming back and winning, great. You should have never been in that position to begin with, at least as bad as you were. The team has no consistency. They don't hold up. The only thing positive I can really pull, other than obviously they won the games, is Colin Chandler appears to be kind of breaking out a little bit. And that's what they needed, was another guy to step up. So if that continues and he really turns into a good basketball player and a key contributor for them, I think it can be helpful. But at the same time, Cam Williams goes down. It's kind of a catch-22 at all times with Kentucky.
You can go, Sam.
No, I don't like Kentucky. Just like I've always said, Mark Pope makes it slightly more more palatable for me. But it's Texas. I'm pretty sure like Cam Heide is the star of this Texas team at times, and Cam Heide was Cam Heiding for 3 years.
Cardio Cam.
So,
Cardio.
yeah, Cardio Cam. They used to call him and Miles Colvin the Cardio Bros.
Yep.
But yeah, I like what Kentucky did against Tennessee. I'm more like that was a Tennessee issue. But what Kentucky did against LSU, that was more of an LSU issue. Like, I think Kentucky's Super Bowl was winning an exhibition game that meant nothing against Purdue. And now they're going to figure out a way to sneak into the tournament and have some Kentucky magic probably. But I don't know. There's nothing about this team that's impressive. They win ugly. They have these great comebacks that make the headlines a little bit. They get on ESPN because it's Kentucky and it was a comeback. But I don't think what the people are seeing, like Kentucky did this miraculous thing where it's really the teams that they were playing just kind of shit the bed.
Yeah.
And I think there's a very stark difference there. So there's nothing about this Kentucky team that's impressive to me. They're disjointed. They look lost half the time on the floor. They just happen to like string it together for 7 minutes.
Didn't they shoot like 1 million free throws?
Yeah. I mean, they're all a bunch of SGAs. They just body into people and pray for a whistle. And if they don't get it, they spend the entire way up the court not playing defense and bitching about the no call to the ref. So it's not good basketball, in my opinion, but they are finding a way. So they definitely keep things interesting.
Yeah, I'm not a Mark Pope believer. I think we clipped something about us talking
You don't
about
believe in
him
the Pope
earlier.
or
Like,
something?
I can't stand Mark Pope. I don't think all players are good coaches or should be coaches. I think they get their spots because of who they are. And I think not having acquaintance really hurts them, obviously, or Lau, not having those 2 players, but I know they're going to make it in as like a 5, 6, 7 seed. They shouldn't be. They're the same as St. John's. Like, that's who I would compare them to in my head, is like way overrated. Just not a great, like, if they mesh, yeah, they'll be dangerous, but we are yet to see Pope mesh a team like that. So it's to be continued, and they have a really tough stretch coming up. We'll see who they really are.
Absolutely.
All right. So we have a little kind of a segment, like a sub segment, where we have a fraud watch that we kind of hit on a few things, and that is, and the kind of kick things off, it's Michigan State at Oregon. Michigan State winning 6-52.
Yeah, it's hard to say a team is potentially on a fraud watch, when they beat Oregon by 16. It's not a good Oregon team, but they still beat them. And their only losses are to Nebraska and Duke. They have Maryland, Rutgers coming up. Neither one of those teams are particularly good, so they're going to win those. The thing about this Michigan State team, though, is I can't figure out who the hell they are. They don't shoot the ball well. They don't do anything particularly well. They just play hard and they're gritty. And I like it. Don't get me wrong. But when you watch it, you're just like, how the hell has this team only got 2 losses? They shot 15% from 3 again. And you're just like, what the hell is going on? Hell, Jackson Kohler is their best shooter right now. And I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card. Carr seems to have every game a very loud 8 points. And it's like, am I worried about Michigan State as a Purdue fan? No, not at all. I think Purdue should handle Michigan State, but it's this team just finds gritty ways to win games. So nothing would surprise me here. It's they're definitely like a head scratcher as far as like this team should not be as good as they are with the roster that they have and the people that they lost preseason. But here they are. It's Izzo. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Like when I was younger, I hated Izzo. When I was like middle age, like when post college in my 30s, I respected Izzo, and now I love him. He's just one of those old dudes that coaches old school and does things the right way, and it's paying dividends for him. So I'm here for it, but I don't want to call them a fraud just yet. I mean, they still handled an okay Oregon team by 16 points here.
Yeah, I'm in no way am I going to call Michigan State a fraud at 17-2 with losses to 2 top 10 teams who have 1 loss between them on the season. So I very similar. Used to hate Izzo. Actually hated him until about 3 months ago when we interviewed Greg Campy, the Oakland coach, and he kind of led some more personal insight into Izzo that kind of made me more of a fan of Izzo, just from that one interview. But for me, Michigan State's not a fraud because I just have no data to back it up. But all they do is play defense. Their identity is basically what the Virginia teams 5 or 6 years ago were. They're just going to grind you into a pulp and score barely enough points to win the game against good teams. They've had 2 teams all season score more than 70 points on them. Just think about that. It's an insane stat. In 19 games they've played, 2 teams have scored 70 or more than 70. One team did score 70. I believe that was Nebraska. But they just aren't a good offensive team whatsoever. Now, when they hit the tough part of the Big Ten stretch, because the only really good team they've played so far they lost to, then I think you can kind of start seeing a little bit of fraud coming out because there's too many elite offensive teams, Purdue, Michigan, Nebraska, Illinois, that I don't think this team can hang with. And it's already been proven against Nebraska. If you can score the ball, they're going to have trouble. So they're not on fraud watch for me yet, but I'm monitoring. It's kind of like this impending apparent snowstorm we're about to get up here. They tell me it's coming, but I haven't seen it yet, and I've been lied to before, so I'm gonna wait and see.
Dude, we got 6 seasons of Game of Thrones saying this shit was coming, and it's just all right, it's here. And it's coming.
Love that.
Yeah, I definitely would not put Michigan State on fraud watch. Izzo, this man can coach. This man's a legend of the game, and he represents all that is still good about college basketball. They've got a pretty easy schedule coming up. They've got Maryland, Rutgers, then Michigan at home, which I like Michigan State in that game, Minnesota, and then Illinois at home as well. So, 3 of the next 5 games are at home. I think we'll come out on the other side of that saying Michigan State's the real deal. I just think they play a different way than most people. Obviously can't shoot threes to save anybody's life, but I think they're a legit team, and I think they may end up, Sweet 16, even Elite 8 level in the tournaments.
Yep. Get some of that Izzo magic.
Izzo.
So the next one on our watch here, we've got Georgia at Missouri. Georgia winning 74-72.
Fraud.
Yeah, I'm with you. 100% of fraud.
I don't know if we need to talk about this a lot. This Georgia team just doesn't win big games.
0 top 50 wins on the road.
Yeah, and yeah, they just don't win big games. Stick to football.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm good with that. I continue losing to the Big Ten in football.
that's true too. Then what about Vanderbilt at Arkansas? Arkansas winning 93-68. I'm kicking myself for not saying this on the podcast in our last recording because I felt this in my gut and this might happen. Not this big of a just an absolute belt-to-ass win for Arkansas. But for Vanderbilt to be struggling and then going into Bud Walton, that is a tough place to win. And Arkansas let them have it. Let the Hogs out on them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I
Arkansas.
like that.
I don't know who the fraud watch is on here. I assume Vanderbilt, but
Could be
Arkansas.
both.
Both.
Yeah,
Both
Arkansas.
both
Arkansas sneakily up to sixth on offense. I put some notes in here. Like Vanderbilt, they rely so much on turnovers and blocks that if you
So
are
much.
that
All
like
of
they're number one in steal percentage, number two in block percentage. If you are a team that can, like a Purdue, for instance, just I know I keep using them, but like a mature older team that is going to be able to handle their pressure, this team has no other counter to it. All of their points are generated off turnovers and blocks. And when they play a team that takes care of the ball or a team that has the like equal or better athleticism like Arkansas, they don't have a counter. And I think Vanderbilt is going to beat a lot of teams that are ranked highly just stylistically because they have a style that if you're not careful with the ball and you don't have any athleticism, you can get destroyed very quickly because they'll do that to you. But in my opinion, I would say they're a fraud in the sense of like they're definitely not a top 15 team, but I would say that they're probably a top 30, 40 team will make the tournament and, could scare if they're an 8 or 9 seed, they could scare a 1 seed.
Yeah. I'm gonna go the other route, and we're gonna talk about Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt had that hot start at the year.
Oh, I was talking about Vanderbilt.
Oh, you were talking about my bad. No, you're talking about Arkansas. My
No,
bad.
I think Arkansas is probably like top 20 good for sure.
Yeah, no, Arkansas. Like I think both these teams have fraud tendencies. Vanderbilt, they play on the court that they play on, and that alone is enough for me to not trust their style of basketball. You play in a music hall that has a basketball court in it, so
It is trash.
get a real gym, and I'll not call you a fraud. They've got time to turn this around. The SEC is brutal, but yeah. And then Arkansas, I don't like Cal, but every now and then he's been saying some stuff that I'm just like, yeah, it's starting to make sense. And like, gotta hate that. I really hate that Cal's making sense right now.
You ever watched his 30 for 30? It's
No,
called Not One and Done. You should watch it. It really will change your perspective on him.
yeah,
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's called Not One and Done.
So there was a lot of stuff that surrounding the Derrick Rose Memphis scandal that he kind of got a free pass on that whole situation, and that kind of made me sick to my stomach a little bit because that program almost got the death sentence. And then he went to Kentucky and was effectively buying players, and now with the NIL, it was like the game caught up, and he's like, "Oh, this doesn't seem fair anymore." But like, yeah, it doesn't, does it?
Yeah.
So it's like when Saban gets out of football and he talks about, it's like, well, the Big Ten has an unfair advantage now. It's like, yeah, because they get to pay players too, huh? So
Weird how that works.
yeah,
It's
funny.
Strange.
So
I'll say Vanderbilt's definitely on my fraud alert. Arkansas, I think they're a regular season non-fraud. I think once they get to the postseason, they will get exposed early. Probably round of 32 would be my call right now. But I think they're going to create problems in their conference. Vanderbilt just, I don't know. Ken Palm has them winning their next 9 games in a row. And the Palm is what I stick to. I mean, the guy knows what he's doing. He's a genius. But I don't know, man. It's college basketball, and I think once you get exposed and people have that blueprint, like you see, they have 3 losses in a row. Obviously, the first one to Texas, who I have little to no respect for. Just like their coach called them, they're a bunch of hackers.
Yeah.
I mean, he went off in that presser, and he's like, "Yeah, we foul." He's like, "That's all we do." So
shit out of them.
yeah, I have no respect for somebody that loses to Texas. Florida and Arkansas I can see, but I'm putting Vandy on heavy fraud alert.
Yeah, no,
I had
that's
a
it.
couple of that weren't on this list. I just wanted to make my statement known to the world that I believe that UConn and BYU are both fraudulent.
See,
And I'll defend it.
here's my thing about UConn. They play in a terrible, terrible, terrible Big East. That being said, every game that they play is the other team's Super Bowl because there's nobody else. There is absolutely nobody else. And they handled their business in the non-con, losing only to Arizona without 2 starters. They were missing Terrence Reed, Braylon Mullins. Braylon Mullins is coming into his own. Reed had a fantastic game the other night. was actually probably the reason they won the other night. I'm not ready to call UConn trash, but there are not trash. Well, trash. I'm not ready to call them frauds, but they cannot be beating these awful, awful Big East teams by 2 points, 3 points, 1 point on situations where they literally have their back on the ropes. I mean, it's this UConn team, for as good and as talented as they should be on paper, should be blowing these teams out, and they're just not. And I can make the same argument with what Purdue's been doing the last few games, like teams that they should be absolutely dog walking, and they're letting them hang around. So definitely, it's one of those things where I still think they're getting everybody's home run shot here. So
Yeah, no,
BYU,
I get that.
yeah, I think I'm with you. I think BYU might be frauds, but I also kind of thought that at the beginning of the year. I was actually worried DeBansa wouldn't get a play because he was going to have premarital sex with somebody, and then he was going to say, absolutely not on my watch.
He's going to be on the Mormon Wives show here soon. Just wait.
My God.
That's good.
My wife's going to be like, hey, do you know this guy? He
Yeah,
said he
this
played
guy?
for BYU. Secret Lives of the Mormon Wives. Yeah, I just think BYU can't beat anyone on the road, and they struggle with bad teams on the road. They're getting a lot of hype because of the freshmen on their team, but I think that's exactly why they're fraud.
Sam, what's your phrase with the Bantam?
Shit your pants up for DeBansa. It is the Pacers 2025-2020 motto.
Hell yeah. You think they're going for him?
Yeah, if we get the number 1 pick, I don't know who else we get, because I don't think Peterson's a fit. I don't think Boozer's a fit with who we've got already. I think DeBansa, plugged in with Halliburton and Siakam, and then you still probably have Nembhard.
I like it.
I don't think we'll have Matherin or Neesmith next year,
Right.
but you have those 4 on the court at the same time. You got some special stuff.
Pretty tough. Yeah, that'd be tough. Yeah, BYU for me, they're heavy fraud watch. 12th in the net, and their 4-2 quad 1 wins are Villanova. How is that a quad 1 win still? Miami, Florida. How is that a quad 1 win? Clemson. How is that a quad 1 win? And Wisconsin.
So three has-beens in football and Villanova.
I just don't understand it, man. They're getting all those. They got the easiest quad 1 schedule of all time.
Yeah. So before we get into Saturday's preview, I just want to take a second. And for those who have watched this before, the 44 people that watched last week, and then the 3,000 people that watched 2 weeks before, or whoever the hell decides to watch tomorrow, I just want to introduce you to Dalton and Derek from Double D's podcast. They're a Purdue podcast, one of my favorites on YouTube right now. I actually haven't watched their preview because I watched the preview for the UCLA game and saw how that went. So I've got a little superstition. So I'll be watching that tomorrow after the Illinois game. But they do an absolute fantastic job, really break down the games, break down some of the cool stuff that Purdue's going. And they got a badass intro. So if anything, just watch it for the intro and then stick around to see what they got to say. So again, this is Double D's podcast. Like and subscribe. They're absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Appreciate that, Sam.
Thank you.
And yeah, we love this podcast too. And we do focus heavily on Purdue, but in the off season, we also cover some of the Cubs, some golf stuff. We'll get into some college football when that rolls back around. A little bit of NFL, but for the most part, it's Purdue. Next year, we are probably going to expand to a couple more Big Ten teams just to cover as we grow. You have to kind of grow with you guys, but really appreciate that. And, anybody who wants to listen, we love having people in our comments. We do go live, and sometimes we get in live on air arguments like we did last night and get an hour and 40-minute preview. That's just probably 40 minutes of me arguing with Rickus Morty in the chat, but it was entertaining, and that's what truly matters.
Was that about your made up family?
Yeah. Well, that's just one of the things he decided to, so our chat, like when somebody starts going at me, they kind of all just jump on.
Yeah.
Right.
And I jump in the water. Too.
And then Dalton starts going, he hits the beep on the freaking smoke detector. It's the whole thing.
Yeah. It's chaos, man. Chaos. Thank you guys for having
really
us on
appreciate
for
that.
sure, man. We love to talk ball, as you can tell. So we're down to talk ball whenever, wherever.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's one thing we've said it on here before. If we have 2 subscribers or 2,000, we don't care. We get to talk about college basketball, and people get to call us wrong or right or however they want to talk to us and all that fun stuff. But we love it. So,
yeah.
It also gives me an excuse to watch countless hours of college basketball and tell my wife it's research. It's like this is
bingo.
Yeah, it's a job.
I'm making $0 an hour on this. I want to make sure I'm doing it right.
Gotta do it.
Don't you want me to follow my dream, honey?
That'll work. That'll work.
The answer to that question is no, she doesn't.
No, absolutely not. She wants me to keep doing the job that I'm doing because it seems to be working. But this is just like, hey, you get it. You get it's like the Army Reserves, like 2 hours a week, 1 weekend a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So.
hilarious.
All right, getting into Saturday. Brad, lead us off here.
Yeah, let's kick things off with Villanova at UConn. Speaking of them, I think we had some Villanova chatter a moment ago. UConn at 10.5 points.
I think we can all probably keep this relatively quick, but go ahead, Derek.
But yeah, I mean, I was just going to say the only chance Villanova has is if they go kind of berserk from 3. Don't think if this was at Villanova, it would be a little bit different story, I think. But at UConn, just don't think that their defense is enough to be able to slow UConn down to even keep this game close. I'd expect it to be somewhat low scoring, but give me UConn at home plus or minus the 10.5. I think they probably win by 14-8.
Yep, same boat. Derek, what do you think?
Dalton.
Dalton, my bad.
You're good. I'm gonna take the Villanova line plus 10.5. I think they keep it fairly close, and I roll with my boy Palm. He's got it at a 9-point victory. We pay for this site, so I'm gonna take the data he gives me, and I'm gonna use it.
I like that.
I used this as my platform to justify buying the Palm. So this, 100% with you. So
we split it. We split it.
I don't think this is going to be a game at all. If it was at Nova, I'd say maybe, just maybe, but no, what we talked about earlier, I'd like to see this be a breakout game for a couple of UConn's players, namely Braylon Mullins, McDonald's All-American, Indiana Mr. Basketball. He's starting to kind of break loose a little bit. A lot of people thought he was going to be a one and done. There's rumors circulating that he's coming back for another year. So I'd like to see him kind of develop a little bit more this season, and this might be a good breakout game for him. So,
all right, what about North Carolina at Virginia? This one's very interesting to me, just because UNC could easily just turn into a blunder. But Virginia just doesn't. They're just not. They don't have that flash that you really want. It gives you a lot of confidence. So they've got it at Virginia 7.5 points.
Yeah, give me North Carolina money line. I don't buy it with Virginia. I've been overhyped on North Carolina all year, and they continue to let me down, but that's just the way I like it. So I'm going to go, maybe it makes no sense. I see North Carolina in a bit of a desperation spot. Season could really start slipping away if they don't start turning it around soon. Not sure even if they're able to, because they somehow just seem like a mess out there. I'm pretty sure Hubert Davis might be one of the worst coaches that's ever coached a blue blood in the history of the world. But that being said, I don't buy Virginia. So give me North Carolina. If I'm getting 7.5, I'm definitely taking North Carolina, but I'll take the money line at like plus 280.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm taking North Carolina as well. I'm not taking the money line, but I'm taking the points. Give me North Carolina plus 7.5. I mean, that's easy money right there. Virginia is not that great. They're 17th in offensive rating and defensive rating on KenPom, which means absolutely nothing. They've lost to Butler and Virginia Tech and North Carolina. They have some real deal players that when they decide it's time to play, it's time to play.
Yep, absolutely. So no, I'm with you. I'm taking North Carolina on the points here. I'd almost take a money line, but I just don't trust either one of these teams. But I think that's going to be an ugly game, but it'd be interesting. I still want both teams to lose.
Yeah, is that possible? Can I pick that?
Yeah, I'm rooting for the bus to break down.
And then I expect us to spend a little bit of time here dissecting this and previewing this game. But it's number 11 Illinois at number 4 Purdue. Purdue at 5.5 points.
Yeah, we spent an hour and 40 minutes breaking this down, but to me, the biggest factor in this game of why I love this game is both teams' offenses are designed specifically to beat the other team's defense. It's almost like it was a match made in heaven or hell, or however you want to look at it. But Purdue should be able to score at will against Illinois, and Illinois should be able to score at will against Purdue. Kylan Boswell being out makes that even more of an option because he's their lead defender. And I don't think a guy like Wagler can stick with Braden. If they try to put Stojakovic on him, they're risking Stojakovic getting in foul trouble. There's a lot of factors that go in. And then on the other end, Purdue defensively is just not built to stop a guy like Stojakovic, a 6'7" guy that can get to the rim, that can shoot it. Same with Wagler. They're almost identical. Two prototypes, if you want to beat Purdue, is a big guard who can get to the rim and shoot threes. They don't have a guy that can guard that. And then you go with Illinois being an exceptional offensive rebounding team. The only solace is that the Illinois' big men do not go to the basket whatsoever. They shoot more threes than they shoot twos. And the only guy on the team that doesn't is Stojakovic. But this is going to be an awesome game. I hope that this is going to be one of those games that, you kind of remember. And as a Purdue fan, I hope it's because of a win. But people are making a bigger deal out of Boswell being out than I think they should. I think that just opens up more room for Wagler, to be honest. And when the ball is in his hands, Illinois is at their best. So this comes down, in my opinion, to who makes their shots, protects the ball, and rebounds. Illinois does not turn teams over. Purdue does not really turn it over. Both teams are great on the glass, and Purdue is slightly better at shooting, but Illinois shoots a lot more threes. So break it down however you want. This line must have moved pretty drastically because it was 2.5. I think that's kind of mostly due to that Boswell injury. I'm going to take Illinois plus 5.5. I think Purdue wins the game, but I think this is a down to the wire, maybe 3 to 4 point victory. I think in our preview, I predicted it more than that, but the more I think about this game, the more I'm like, I don't know how one team stops the other.
Yeah. So my thought on this one is I'm really interested to see what Illinois does defensively. And again, if you guys want to see a more in-depth breakdown on this game, check out Double D's, man. They do a great job at this. But me, when I'm thinking about this, I question whether Illinois is going to put 2 on the ball. Because if they do that, I think we're going to have a big TKR/Oscar Clough opportunity game. And then from a mobility standpoint, I think TKR has the advantage from shooting. Illinois obviously has the advantage there from their bigs. But I think with the inside-outside game that Purdue plays, I think this is a big opportunity for shooting. Would love to see Fletch bust the slump here.
He was my player of the game in our breakdown. It's got to happen sometime, right?
Got to happen.
Yeah, I'm not really excited about this game, to be honest. I get a little nervous about these games. What I will say very simply is what Purdue team shows up tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's the determining factor of who's going to win tomorrow. It has nothing to do with Illinois. If the Purdue team that was slated to win the national title and was preseason number 1 shows up, then we cook Illinois by 10 to 15 points. If the Purdue we've seen for the last 2-3 weeks shows up, we might get run out of Mackey.
Yeah.
Very easily. Illinois doesn't turn people over, so that's not a worry for me. And I want to see a lot less turnovers out of Braden. I just think he was worn out in that UCLA game. Hopefully with some rest, he's good to go. Obviously looking for a big game Fletch as well. We talked about that a little bit. It's time to break out of this slump or to find some pine. And I hate to say that about Fletcher, and I know Painter won't do it, but you've got guys like Jack Benner waiting to eat, playing good defense all over the place and just showcasing, a hard-nosed, gritty Indiana-style player. That's what Benter is. He represents Purdue basketball and what we are. And I just haven't seen that out of Fletcher lately. Don't like the line. Give me Illinois plus 5.5. I think I already have money on that. Not great coming from 3 Purdue fans, but it's hard to believe right now.
I will say aesthetically, this game has potential to be awesome. Both teams do not foul. Neither team forces turnovers. So this could just be a back and forth shot make. Both teams are efficient from 3. Both teams are efficient from 2. They both have bigs. They both have guards. I mean, this could just be one of those games that's 90 to 89, and there's 12 total stoppages in the game. I mean, Illinois does not like to play physical. Purdue is not going to go out of their way to play physical. They just won't. And I think it could just be one of those games that, from a viewership standpoint, could be really awesome. It might end in an hour and 45 minutes.
Yep, absolutely.
My only point for this game is that I feel like that Illinois could get under TKR's skin because they could be pesky, and I think that there's a mental side of them that they can kind of impose on their opponent. And I think Clough can fall victim to that at times as well. So I think that's something that could be kind of a silent impact that may not be right there in your face, but kind of could be in inner workings throughout the game. So it'll be interesting to watch, that's for sure. And other than this game that we just talked about, I think this is probably the game to watch is Houston at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
I mean, this would be a dogfight.
Burner.
Yeah,
Oh,
a
yeah.
few weeks ago, this was an absolute fantastic
Yeah.
game. I'm not going to pick a winner here. I'm going to pop some popcorn. I'm going to crack open a beer. I'm going to sit down and watch this while Armageddon takes place outside from a weather standpoint.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this was incredible when they played it in Houston. Now, that game, shot making wasn't very good, or defense was good. You can kind of flip it however you want it to be. Fleming, however, was great in that game. Anderson was terrible. I expect Texas Tech, really to want to protect home court in this situation with them just losing in the way that they did. I don't want to pick a winner either. I want to see a great game, but just the Purdue side of me wants Texas Tech to win this. So I'll go Texas Tech. Fine, I wouldn't even lay the 1.5, to be honest with you. Just to me, like, this could be a 1-point game in the end. So it always depends with Texas Tech on who shows up. You know what you're going to get most nights from Houston. If Texas Tech shows up and they get an Atwell 6 for 8 game or 7 for 10 like he just did, like I said, I don't think Houston can score enough points to beat him. But if it's a grinded out like it was in the first matchup, that's what Houston wants, and that's what they're going to do. And if Texas Tech falls into that trap again, they're probably going to end up losing this game in another heartbreaker.
Yeah, Houston wants a rock fight.
Now,
Here's what I've got on it. Go ahead, Sam.
No, go ahead. I was going to say, like, the question is, are they even going to get to play this game? Because Snowmageddon happens over in Texas. I think that state gets shut down for a week.
They're projected to get snow as well.
Yeah,
It's everywhere.
That's where it's supposed to. Apparently, North Texas is going to be completely shut down based on all empirical evidence of what happens when it snows over there. Their power grid's not exactly built to handle it, so it could get pretty dicey for a Texas and Texas games.
Yeah, they don't even have snow plows down there, like
Or
nowhere
salt.
in Texas. So yeah, nothing. They have no spreader trucks, so that could be a real nightmare. If the game does in fact take place, give me Houston and give me Houston 3. Now, please don't ever take my betting advice. As Derek will tell you, it is absolutely terrible. It's awful. But I like Houston in this matchup. Like we talked about, like Tech doesn't have any depth. Houston has depth pieces in Mercy Miller, Isaiah Harwell, Chase McCarty. They've got kids that can come off the bench and give, Uzan and Sharp all breathers. And I think that's the difference maker here. And especially if you get Mr. Flemings going, he's a net torture. The kid is a monster. I look for him to be a top 10 pick this year. I like how he plays. I hate Houston. Don't want to make this pick, but here I am. I can't lie to myself.
Yeah, I'm with you. Again, as a Purdue fan, I'm going Texas Tech as who I'm rooting for, but I'm with you. I think Houston might wind up taking this one. So.
All right, so for the next game here, we've got Tennessee at Alabama. Alabama at 5.5 points. I mean, Tennessee turns it over all the time. That's if you want a basketball, they'll give it to you. That's kind of the way it's been lately. So I definitely have my thoughts on this game. I don't have a whole lot of confidence. I guess I'll say that. We do match up with them fairly well, but it's just hard to have confidence in this team right now. But I definitely think a bright side to this would be if we could see Nate Ament kind of continue some progress and continue to see some just elevated play. Not even that he's just been playing terrible, but just waking up, like just being more effective, being a star, being the man. That's what I'd like to see out of this game.
Yeah, I personally, I love Nate Ament. He's one of my favorite players to watch. Just I can see the future when I watch him play basketball. But in this game, Alabama being favored 5.5 at Alabama, this is a weird game for me. This comes down to like 3-point variance, like who hits the shots and who doesn't hit the shots. Tennessee's going to destroy them on the glass. That's just my guess. I just think that if I'm a betting man, which I am, I would take I'm not laying the points. I'm taking Alabama money line. It could get close. It could get dicey. And the way Alabama's been coming back, I don't really count them out against anybody, especially at home. So I know there's some Tennessee guys on here, and I hate to do it, but I would take Alabama money line, but I would probably take the points, Tennessee plus the points, if I was betting this game against the spread.
Yeah, I'm glad Jake's not here. R.I.P. Jake. Hope you're doing all right. And Brad, I hate to do this to you. I trust everything, and this Alabama team is volatile. I feel like they've blown some games that they should have won. But I trust this Alabama team right now more than I trust this Tennessee team. If you would have asked me a month ago, I would have said the exact opposite.
100%.
I feel like Tennessee is just moving in the wrong direction right now. and it's struggling with an identity crisis. Like they've always been a defensive team, and their defense hasn't been that particularly great. They've had some letdowns here. They blew that big lead against Kentucky. Like mentally, emotionally, I don't know what this Tennessee team is going through, but it's not the right stuff. And this Alabama team, as volatile as they are and with the games that they've lost, they're still pretty well connected. They know who they are. They know what they're going to come in and do. And that's why I trust this Alabama team. I would go money line on Alabama. You got to root for your Vols here, Brad. I really am, but I do think Alabama takes this game.
Man, do I have to play devil's advocate in every game here?
You do. You need one.
You got to have
That's
the devil on your
crazy.
shoulder.
I feel like you guys are set. Did you talk about this before the show? You
this
and
was
Derek and Sam backdoor freaking talking, dude. But I'm going with Tennessee in this game. Barnes, he's not my favorite coach, and I don't really trust him or believe in him. But he needs a big SEC win. I'm just being. It's no hate, you know.
Oh no, I hear you.
We've had our run-ins with Tennessee, so
yeah, Brad's very familiar.
I don't want to go there. I want Brad to say, you know, it's nice to have those guys on here. I don't want to. We're not going there right now, but I'm gonna take Tennessee, man. I just think the Gillespie needs to get going. They need to feed Mint and get him going down low, and I think that they can run with this Bama team. It's like they're going to have so much distraction from Bediako, and it's like, where does he fit into rotations? They don't have that continuity feeding him the ball or passing him the ball. So how much does he play tomorrow? It's all a bunch of questions with Alabama, and there's a huge distraction on them right now. And I know Barnes is just snapping on that. It's like, and why wouldn't you just feed Akpar all day tomorrow? Who from Bama is going to stop that horse down low? That guy is a freaking horse. He's a monster. Like, I would not want to guard him or Carey. Carey is crazy too. So that would be my strategy if I was Barnes, just go at him down low. Give me Tennessee money line and put 5 on it, because that's all I got.
Does that make you feel a little bit better, Brad? Can we have him back on the show sometime? When
I needed that. So so I know we're getting a little long on time here. So I was just going to hit these few games. If there's any kind of points you all want to delve into, we can kind of rapid fire hit at them. So I'll read them off real quick. We've got Nebraska at Minnesota. Wait for it. Do what?
Give me many.
Yeah,
this is a dangerous Minnesota team. Nobody wants to play this Minnesota team.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I had the same note. Last 6 games by Minnesota decided by 10 points or less, 2 of those being in overtime. They've lost, I believe, 4 of those. I think the close games continue. Give me Minnesota with the upset here. Shocker of the century. I think Nico Medved is an up-and-coming coach in the Big Ten, and Minnesota is going to be a lot better than people are ready to accept in the next couple of years. I like the way they play basketball. I think Nebraska's getting, a team that's not notoriously good like Nebraska, when success hits, it's like an avalanche.
Yes.
And eventually you start feeling like you deserve to be there. And that's about the time that you lose. It's like Matt Painter always says, you're either humble or you're about to be humbled. And it's time, I think, that happens to them. If it isn't in this game, it's coming soon. I just think this is a trap matchup for Nebraska, thinking, we're going to go play Minnesota. We got an easy one here. And Minnesota's a little bit tougher than people think. The barn is a real place that takes enemies and buries them back beneath the barn.
Haunted. The barn is haunted. Actually, Nebraska's going to win this yet again.
Back door.
You know what? Whatever they say, just put me on the opposite. Nebraska's winning this. They're going to roll. They're going to bring a big head into Michigan. They're going to get smacked around, as much as I hate Michigan this year. So they're winning this in the barn.
Yep. Yeah. Moving on.
And we've got Wake Forest at Duke.
Yeah, not sure why this is on the list. Duke by 20 or more. Miles Colvin's definitely dunking on Cam Boozer, though.
Yeah, he is.
He's going to at least try. That's for sure.
And then he's going to get teed up for looking at the bench. So.
He might wear a chain to this game. I'm not sure yet.
Oh my, chill out, dude.
He's starting to feel himself.
Oh, that's funny. Then you got Ole Miss at Kentucky. Kentucky at 9.5.
Give me Kentucky by 23.
True.
God.
Hot.
I think Ole Miss.
I'm I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to watch this game, even if it's like, hey, you can watch one college basketball game and it's this. Nah, I want to play racetrack cars with my kid and get yelled at.
Sweet.
So no, I'm not watching this game. I'm not interested in either one of these teams, but rooting for Ole Miss. Kentucky's going to win it.
I'll take the money line on Kentucky. It's probably not that great of odds, but I'll throw it into a parlay and have a great day.
There you go.
I like that. Then you've got Kansas at Kansas State. I see. I think this is from you, Derek. So is Peterson out for sure? He doesn't want to play.
Indefinitely. He apparently sprained his ankle real bad. Yeah, maybe the most confusing basketball player I've ever watched play basketball.
So wild to me.
Aaron Peterson is one of the best college basketball players I've ever seen. Like, just from a pure skill, the way he moves, like, he does not look like he should be there. Like, he looks like he's playing a different sport. It'd be like a bunch of deer running by, and then there's like a lamb that's trying to blend in with them. Like, he is a step above everybody, but yet he doesn't want to be there. I mean, he checks himself out of games when it's like crunch time. I think if he was fully locked in, Kansas could be a legit Final Four contender. No questions asked, because Council's turned into a heck of a player. But I do see this as a potential look-ahead spot for Kansas. I just don't think Kansas State has enough to win it in the long run. So give me Kansas State money line. But I think Kansas pulls this out. Or not, sorry, I said that backwards. Kansas State plus the points. But I think Kansas does pull this out in the long run. I just think they have a little bit too much talent for kind of wounded duck Kansas State team.
This game is always weird. That's why it's hard to. I don't think I'd ever put money on it, just because it's always strange.
No.
Something weird happens. It's just always some sort of madness.
It's like Purdue IU. You just throw it out the window.
Rivalry.
At Kansas State almost always wins this game just because it's Kansas State and everything's purple. And to your point, Peterson, one of the best college basketball players I've ever watched play. He just made a balsa wood. I mean, he's like Bob Sanders from the Colts Super Bowl year.
Man.
He's just it's like my God, what a talented person you are when you can actually play. But you're taking up cap space, brother.
I don't even know if the injuries are even real. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Probably not. It's like Mikael Brown at Louisville. Something just he don't like. Something ain't clashing right. But give me Kansas. Trey White's a baller, a big time baller. Flory Badunga, Kokomo zone. You know, all he can do is dunk. He can't do anything else. You know, Kokomo loves Flory Badunga, and we live about 20, 25 minutes away from Kokomo, so we watched him all throughout high school. We'll cheer the fella on. He didn't go to IU, so I'm proud of him.
Yeah, that's a
you
win.
You guys been checking out Mount Vernon at all with Luke Earl?
I went and watched him at the Homestead Holiday Tournament. Dude, insane.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, this kid pulls up from wherever he wants. He has the highest motor I've ever seen since Carson Edwards. Like, just go. Like, go. And he's smart. He actually reclassed, so he's an older kid.
Yeah.
I think he's almost 20 years old. But he's the future, man. This kid is nuts.
Yeah, he's the real deal. That's why I'm worried about some of the players on Purdue right now that are thinking they're going to get some quality minutes with that kid coming in. I think we got another 4-year starter there.
All right. So that wraps up our preview. And real quick, again, we're getting a little long-winded here, but we have to have a bench behavior. Bench behavior is something we have on each of our episodes where just somebody does something just asinine, something that's just wild and crazy. And there are a couple that have been listed here, but I think one of the main ones here is Nate Oates for complaining about G League players then going for how do you say it? I cannot say the guy's name.
Bediako.
Yeah. Like at this point, if I'm a college coach, I'm not going to be complaining about this at all. I want to keep my mouth shut. And unless I'm Izzo, because Izzo, he's never gonna do this. I mean, he'll retire before he goes and makes a decision like this. But if I'm a college coach, I'm not talking about this. I'm not saying never on anything. And so I think that those words did not age well for Nate Oates.
Yeah, I posted on Greg McManus. He said something. Oates phrases it like he's bound by the law to pay this kid. Didn't he rant about Baylor a few weeks ago? And my response to that was, your first mistake was thinking that Oates would ever do something morally or stand on his word. He didn't bench a player for delivering a murder weapon to a murder scene. So that's my standing on Nate Oates.
Yeah. He killed a guy.
Yeah. Nate Oates killed a guy, actually. So.
Nate Oates killed a guy. No. Yeah, Nate Oates doesn't have a moral high ground anywhere ever in the history of anything. Just anytime, like I like listening to Nate Oates talk, especially post game, because like he does hold himself and his team accountable, and he doesn't make excuses for anything. But yeah, like boo hoo, these players are getting these teams are getting G leaguers and NBA players, and then goes and does this. That's a Nate Oates move 101. If you didn't see that coming, you weren't paying attention. So Nate Oates is like the Gavin Newsom of college basketball.
Love it.
Yeah.
He just like, he'll say one thing and do another, and you just kind of like, that's Nate Oates.
Wow.
God, that's good.
hilarious.
That is funny.
That
Yeah.
is very good.
I was just gonna say, like, I really liked Nate Oates. I've always thought he was cutting. I'm just kidding.
Chill out, dude.
No, yeah, Nate Oates is,
Chill.
he's the guy who goes and tells the worker at Dollar General that someone's stealing from the back so he can go rob the cash register.
Exactly.
Mhm.
He's just he's a worthless coach, worthless human being. He took analytics and said, I'm gonna just recruit a bunch of athletes and we're gonna shoot threes. And how's that worked out for him?
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Nate Oates, one thing, just keep booking Purdue. I appreciate that W every year, so just keep booking us.
Amen.
Do appreciate the
Amen.
W.
Well, I don't think you're. That's a strong finish right there. So same. I think it's about time for you now to go and do some cleanup work.
Yeah, the coach has given us an eye, but real quick, he wanted to make sure that Double D's gets in the game here. Again, go check out their podcast. For Purdue fans like me who like bleed black and gold, definitely number one on my list right now. I've got all their shit downloaded right now, just waiting for me to stop pouting about the UCLA game so I can start watching stuff again. But I very much appreciate you guys coming on. And then, coach has given us the eye. It's time to
We'll
go
see
do
you
our
at the next
jobs.
blowout.
Hey, take
Appreciate
care,
you guys. Anytime.
Yeah.